Part 1. The grind begins.
Every night at 11:47, a light burned in one bedroom on a quiet street. Not because of homework, not because of a phone, because a 16-year-old named Jonah Reyes was 3 rounds away from Radiant. His parents thought it was a phase. It wasn't. Jonah didn't grow up wired to a keyboard. He touched one at 12 and obsessed by 14. He didn't just play. He studied. He rewound his own mistakes. He watched pro matches at 1.5x speed with a notebook beside him. He tracked aim numbers in a spreadsheet like it was a part-time job. Where other kids wanted viral clips, Jonah wanted consistency. At home, the hours looked like neglect. Grades slipped. He skipped dinners. His mom stood in the doorway at 1 a.m. and asked the question every gamer parent asks, "Do you really think this is going somewhere?" Jonah didn't have an answer. Not yet. He had a belief. The break came from ranked matchmaking. Not a highlight reel, but consistency. Jonah climbed into the top few hundred players in his region. A scrappy semi-pro org, the kind that exists in Discord channels and shared spreadsheets, noticed his name. They didn't DM with a flashy contract. They DM'd with a tryout. Tryouts are where most stories stop being pretty. 2 weeks of scrims, nerves, missed calls, and being benched on day 3. Jonah almost folded under the pressure. But then he started calling rotations before his in-game leader did. He began reading enemy patterns like he had lived inside their comms.
Part 2. Going pro.
By week 2, they offered him a development roster spot. Low pay, low expectations, but a real pathway. The deal was nothing like the headlines. It was an unpaid stipend and a split on tournament winnings. It didn't change the house arguments, but it put a piece of paper on the table. For the first time, "This is going somewhere" had a stamp on it. The first real test was a regional tournament, small prize pool, smaller crowd, a stream with single-digit average viewers. Jonah's team was the underdog. Nobody had tape on them. They just kept winning. Jonah didn't shine because he chased flashy plays. He shined because he didn't make mistakes. He played the boring correct decision, over and over. By the semifinals, he had the highest individual rating. They lost the final 2-1. But what really mattered was the tape. Real matches against real opponents. Proof you can't fake. That tape led to better tryouts, a more stable scrim schedule, and, slowly, a roster that believed. The next months were endless repeats. Wake, aim drills, VOD review, scrims, sleep. Jonah's life narrowed into small, significant improvements. Tiny gains stacked into something measurable. There were setbacks.
Part 3. Earning the stage.
Once, during a critical online qualifier, his internet glitched, and he missed a clutch round. The team nearly folded the next day. His parents threatened to unplug his monitor. He nearly lost the spot. He almost quit. Instead, he stayed and practiced the round he had lost until replaying it felt natural. Training was less about talent and more about habits. Jonah learned to read patterns, how teams tilted after one lost round, how a single rotation could fold a half, how to make a safe decision that still gave his team the advantage. Coaches taught positioning and communication. Jonah taught discipline. Progress bought bigger stages. The org scraped entry fees and flights, and Jonah found himself on a bus with a handful of other players heading to a major LAN. The venue smelled like fast food and anticipation. For the first time, lights were bright enough to sting. The tournament bracket read like a who's who of the scene. Teams with budgets and managers, players with viral clips and sponsorships. Jonah's team was still the small fish. In the first match on LAN, they played clean. No hero kills, just correct plays and calm rotations. They upset a favored team and suddenly cameras noticed them. The semifinals were a grind. Opponents tried to push them out of comfort with aggressive plays. Jonah's calm was the counterweight. He started reading setups, rotating preemptively, and baiting mistakes. In one round that would show up in highlight reels later, Jonah baited a push, traded 2 kills, and clutched a 1v2 with under 10 seconds left. It wasn't flashy. It was surgical.
Part 4. The grand final.
In the final, everything was a pressure test. The other team had star players who demanded respect. The crowd cheered like the building had opened up. Jonah's hands shook for the first map. He missed a simple spray, and the clip went viral among the commentators. Jonah misfires? The internet loves a fail. He felt it. But they reset and won the second map. The decider came down to a single round at 11:47 at night on the stage, coincidentally mirroring that early bedroom light. Jonah's team fell behind, economy crumbling, everything pointing toward an uphill loss. On one rotation, Jonah heard a faint call from his teammate, a guess about the opponent's position. It was a risky read. Jonah traded positions, peeking a corner nobody expected. He landed 2 high-value kills that swung the round. The final push was messy and perfect. A flash, a trade, and then silence. The crowd exploded. Jonah stood up, hands clasped, and for the first time felt the shape of everything he'd traded. On stage, the trophy was heavy in his hands. Reporters asked how it felt. He tried to find words, and mostly found breath.
Part 5. What it meant.
Backstage, his phone buzzed. A text from his mom. "Are you okay? We watched the stream. I'm proud." Miguel sent a voice note, choked up, saying he didn't understand it before, but he did now. The victory didn't erase the hours. It validated them. Jonah didn't become a prodigy overnight. He became the sum of late nights, corrected habits, and decisions repeated until they stopped being hard. The trophy was a checkpoint, not a destination. After the win, offers came in, and so did pressure. Sponsors wanted faces, orgs wanted contracts, and expectations stacked overnight. Jonah had to learn another skill, deciding which opportunities were real and which were distractions. The grind that got him here would have to evolve into a different kind of discipline. Career choices, representation, and balance. His parents learned, too. They saw that the hours could map onto something that looked like work. But they also wanted their son to finish school, to have friends outside of a practice lobby, to not burn out. Jonah promised to find the line. He negotiated curfews with his mom and study blocks between scrims. Winning didn't mean freedom from responsibility. It meant new responsibilities. Looking back, the oddest part is how small the margins were. A missed call, a dropped connection, a single rotation read wrong. Any of those could have rerouted his life. Instead, Jonah kept showing up. He practiced the parts nobody filmed. He turned a bedroom light left on at 11:47 into a ritual. This isn't a story about instant fame. It's a story about the quiet math of discipline. Tiny improvements multiplied by time until the improbable looked like destiny. Jonah lifted a trophy in front of thousands, but the real trophy was the proof that the hours meant something. If you're grinding at night and wondering whether it counts, it does, but only if you use it. If you want the thing, show the work, and sometimes the work looks a lot like being 3 rounds away from Radiant at 11:47 in the dark.